Welcome. The session is recorded and we will provide you with a copy of the recording or a link to the copy of the recording at a later stage. You won't be able to download it from Teams directly. I see there's a few people still joining. All right. Oh, lots of people still joining. Just admitting them. And then we can get started. All right, so welcome everyone. We're very excited to have you here and to talk about the self. Okay, so I'm going to go through some definitions. Starting with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence results from the interaction of intelligence and emotion. EI refers to the individual's capacity to understand and manage emotions. That person got in, sorry. Okay, so the 5 components are self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, empathy, motivation. Okay, and this is why when we're starting our emotional intelligence series, we start with the self. Self-awareness refers to the capacity to recognize and understand emotions and to have a sense of how one's actions, moods, and the emotions of others take effect. It involves keeping track of emotions and noticing different emotional reactions, as well as being able to identify the emotions correctly. Self-regulation. This aspect of emotional intelligence involves the appropriate expression of emotion. Self-regulation includes being flexible, coping with change, and managing conflict. It also refers to diffusing difficult or tense situations or being aware of how one's actions affect others and take ownership of these actions. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about self-care. Lizanne was scheduled to do this whole training today, but unfortunately, she's been called into a separate meeting, and I'll be taking the first half and she'll take the second half. And I'm going to start off by talking about self-care. And no, this is not going to be talking about taking a bath. Okay. What is wealth establishment? Wealth establishment is our holistic wellness, our whole health. It includes our financial stability, physical wellness, mental health, spiritual well-being. We cannot be healthy only in certain areas and expect to live a fulfilling life. Our entire being is interdependent, and nourishing the whole self intentionally should be the goal. Okay. You need to take control of your finances. Just getting a salary and spending your money is not controlling your finances. You need to take care of your most valuable asset. I'd like you guys to pop into the chat and tell me what your most valuable asset is. I'm using finance terms for psychology here, guys. So what is your most valuable asset? Can you pop in the chat and tell me? Okay, I see here JJ said wisdom. Matthias said my health. Ria said my name. Michaela said body and mind. JJ said knowledge. Okay, your most valuable asset that you have is yourself. Okay. Sort of like a combination of Rio and Michaela's answers. Because without you, you have nothing. You don't have a house, you don't have a car, you don't have wisdom, you don't have health. Without yourself, you have nothing. So it's your most valuable asset. Take care of it. So that's where I'm speaking of your physical wellness, your mental health, and your spiritual well-being. You need to take care of those. Okay. In all aspects. You are only going to be wealthy and have whole health if you focus on all 4 aspects. Okay. Oh, sorry. I see there's more people joining. Sorry, guys. Lots of people joining late. Okay. To those who join now, we were just explaining what whole health is, or wealth establishment. You can read it on the screen. And basically what we're saying there is that to be wealthy, you need to look at your financial stability, your physical wellness, mental health, and spiritual wealth as well. A holistic look at your health. Doesn't help you have lots of money, but you have no love. That you don't love yourself, that you are unhealthy. So it's a whole health. Okay, so steps to take for a wealthy life. Number 1, set attainable goals. This helps us to take purposeful action, knowing what we are working towards. Okay. When you set attainable goals, I always push for purposeful goals too. Know what your purpose is before you set those goals. Be present. Live in your moment, whether at work, with your family, in your alone time. Live that moment fully. While you're listening to this training today and watching the slides, are you multitasking? Are you doing other things? This session counts as something to take care of your mental health and your spiritual well-being. Okay. Are you paying full attention? Are you truly present in this? Or are you doing other work on the side, quickly checking your emails, filling out a form, whatever else you can do? Or are you truly focused? Are you present in this moment? Declutter regularly and intentionally. Okay. Here I'm not just talking about your physical space. I love clearing out regularly. Okay. Checking out the old, making space for the new, both physically and in my mind. If you're constantly working on yourself, you're constantly developing new beliefs and thoughts and values, okay? But you do need to let go and identify of what you can declutter in your thoughts as well, okay? Seek out opportunities for self-development and growth. You're attending this training, well done. You guys are here, you're doing this. You're seeking out opportunities for self-development and growth. Yay. There are so many areas that you can grow in though. Are you working out regularly? Are you feeding yourself well? Are you taking care of your spirit and your mental health? Do you actually use your budget? Do you have control of your finances? Do you have a spending plan instead of a budget? I heard that recently and I loved it. Like, because we are so fixated on a budget and budgets are so unsuccessful for so many people, there's like a whole negative connotation. But if you take the positive term, spending plan, and say, I'm going to spend so much, that's a much more positive way. It's a yes way of looking at it. The thing about comfort zones is that once we step out of it, we find it was never all that comfortable. So, horrible story. Someone who's used to being bullied as a child or physically abused as a child will be comfortable in that space and will most likely choose to stay in that space as an adult. If they step out of it, they will learn that physical abuse is terrible. But for them, that's comfortable. Now, let's take it lighter. If you're in a comfort zone, you enjoy smoking. Okay. But we know that's not good for your physical well-being. But you really want it. Maybe you need it. You've become dependent on it. Once you've stopped smoking, and the non-smokers I've spoken to have all mentioned the smell is one thing that suddenly comes back to them, and they realize how smelly they were while they were smoking. To them at that point, it wasn't an issue. The amount of time they save by not smoking, because we're not allowed to smoke in buildings anymore. They're losing time on work. They're losing time with their family and so on. They're missing out on things because they're smoking. They've stepped out of it and they found the benefits. Their lungs are healthier. So there's all sorts of things. There are long-term benefits. You'll get there. Get out of your comfort zone now and find one that's more comfortable. Okay. Are you guys all with me on wealth establishment? Do you understand the concept of whole health? Can I get some thumbs up? Oh, I love those thumbs up. You guys are also welcome to pop in the chat with questions. I don't see any new ones. Petrina, did you deliberately raise your hand, or was that supposed to be a thumbs up? Okay, I see it lowered. Okay, good. So we'll move on to the next slide. Oh, I missed the last point. Love yourself enough to want wealth for yourself. Okay, that's really important. Loving who you are to want financial stability, physical wellness, mental health, and spiritual well-being. Love yourself first. Something that's really, really important is your mental diet, what you feed yourself all the time. Do you check your phone first thing in the morning when you wake up? WhatsApp, emails, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, playing a game, social networking is still a form of working. Our minds are taking in new information to be processed. We do not realize that our Facebook and Instagram news feeds are our mental food. We are feeding, what are we feeding our minds? So who do you follow on social media? What stuff is Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook automatically throwing into your feed? Have they picked up you've been interested in guns and now all gun-related content is coming to you? Or are you interested in growing your mental health and that's coming through to you? Do you see the difference? How are they making you feel? When you're finished on social media, do you feel irritable? Do you feel happier? Do you feel more fulfilled? Do you feel thoughtful? Do you feel intrigued? How do you feel after you've been on social media? What does your mental diet look like? So this, each person needs to define for themselves, okay? Hermine Lago, she's a Namibian storyteller and a professional speaker that I follow on social media. You guys can go and Google her. She's a public speaker, so she is open to being followed by everyone. And so she says she is intentional about guarding her mornings. As I read her post, it resonated with me so much. She says that the first 3 hours of her day belongs to her and no one else. She does not go onto social media, check her emails, or scroll through her phone because she does not want the world to dictate how she should be feeling, thinking, or who she should be before she even decides for herself. She has a sacred morning routine, which includes journaling, working out, and mental rehearsal. And only then does she let the world in. She says that if we allow the world in sooner than that, it will try to decide for us how we should show up. And this is my favorite part of what she said. I silence the world before I step into it. You see, what we don't realize is that social network is still a form of working. Our minds taking in new information to be processed. We do not realize that our Facebook and Instagram news feeds are our mental food. We are feeding our mind. Who are you following on social media? How are they making you feel? Even the most inspirational profiles can be detrimental to our mental health if it makes us feel inadequate, if we're feeling as if we're useless, if they're not building you up because you're not as perfect as them. Comparing your everyday to someone else's highlight reel can leave you feeling depressed and worthless when you are experiencing your life or appearance as inadequate. So what does your mental diet look like? Have you defined it for yourself? There is also a strong connection between your brain and your digestive system. Did you know that poor mental health, like worry and anxiety, can cause your digestion to actually slow down, causing bloating and pain? Your mental diet and food diet are equally important. A healthy body hosts a healthy mind, and a healthy mind promotes a healthy body. The two are intertwined. And do you see why we go back to whole health and how whole health is really important? Then social networking and social distancing. In COVID, it was difficult where we were not allowed to be close together. And there are still times where we are socially more distant nowadays after the pandemic has ended. And social networking is a tool that you can use, but don't let it rule you. You rule it. Okay. There is also a strong connection between your brain and your digestive system. We've gone through that. Did you know that poor mental health, like worry and anxiety, can cause your digestion to slow down, causing bloating and pain? Okay. So on your mental diets, are we all good? Are you all happy? Any questions, any ideas, comments, or suggestions? Was there anything insightful that I said on your mental diets? All good. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, great. Oh, the sun is in my face. Okay. So what can we do instead of social media? Read a real book. Take yourself on a book date. I like that one. Take a walk outside. Allow yourself to have thoughts. Simon Sinek talks about people who grab their phones when they go to the bathroom. Don't do that. Give your brain a moment to think. Release yourself of that. Give yourself the freedom from your phone. Learn a new skill. It is really easy to get information nowadays. We live in the era of free information, okay? It's easy to learn a new skill. Build a puzzle. Work on your logic skills. Do Sudoku. Build a fort and have a no-tech day with your loved ones. I love no-tech days. My husband, not so much, but my kids finally really appreciate it, where we say no technology, just like proper engagement today. Start playing board games. Bring back a different kind of game, not just the games on your phone. Enjoy a picnic in the backyard. You don't need to go out somewhere fancy to have a picnic. You can do it inside too if you really want to. Do a home spa day. Do take that bath for your self-care. Clean out that drawer. So we said earlier about decluttering. A cluttered space takes up physical space in your room, your house, wherever, but it takes up space in your mind. It keeps, like, there's always that to-do list. And once you've ticked it off, and if you maintain it simply by like keeping it ordered every day, then you have one less thing to do. Reignite your old passions or hobbies. I know a lot of people did art or drawing or played netball at school, played volleyball or something like that. And they stopped doing that as they started work, and they never, for 10, 20 years, they don't do anything with regards to that. Start it again. Bring it up. Reconnect with your life. Okay. Be present in the moment. What it means to be present is to sit with whatever's around you and take it in with all 5 of your senses. Use your ears. What sounds do you hear around you? What do you see? Take a moment to observe. I'm one of those people, and I know this is the opposite of reconnecting with your life. When I'm driving, I'm so in my head that I don't notice building colors changing or new signs put up until one day I'm actually like present in the moment and concentrating. Okay? So be present in the moment. Look at things. Make sure you're fully focused on what you're doing. Okay. And now, I think this is our last section on self-care. This is what we think self-care looks like. Usually when one thinks of self-care, you get the picture of going for a massage, getting a facial, reading a book in nature, sleeping in, or watching a movie. It looks like gentle kindness to oneself, self-nurturing and relaxing. Okay. But is it really that? I clicked through one too many now, but can you guys tell me what self-care really should look like? How do you take care of your whole health? Your financial, your spiritual, your mental and physical health. Pop it in the chat what you think can help you take care of yourself. Miriam, you can share.
Who?
Hi, Miriam. Can you speak up a bit?
Was it for me?
Yeah, you unmuted. You can share gladly.
No, I wanted to go to the chat bot.
Okay. All right.
I think the first thing that one have to do is to, like you mentioned, 4 areas of your life. It's like to do a self-study or a self-analysis in all 4 areas, separate from each other, and then as you said, do a and like in your financial life, you have to do analysis in the financial life. It's like step by step in each area of your life. Like that, it's where you can see where to improve, because it's like we normally just take it as a group, but as you analyze it, like each area separately, it's where I see like it's a big thing in our life, because it's separate and we have to totally like take it separately from each other, and then you now summarize it as a whole yourself.
Very true. Introspection is so important.
Yeah.
I see Esther put in here financial budgeting, and JJ put exploring and learning new things, broadening the mind. Rio put exercise, listening to motivational speakers, doing something different. Physical, working out from Esther as well. Matthias, exercising, eating healthy, going to church for spiritual health, reading a good book, managing your debt, finances. Corinne says to-do list helps control getting overwhelmed and making time for all things, not just work. So that work-life balance is really important. Exercise and learning to play an instrument, managing finances. Understanding yourself, your thoughts, and how you are feeling, what it means, and learning how to work with that. Eating a healthy meal, engaging in exercise, going for a walk, drinking water, practicing good sleep. Small steps, not the whole staircase from Rio. That's really important. So if we go back to the introspection from Miriam, if you look at all your faults, you're going to be like, I don't want to. It's too much. But just look at one small one like easy one to change, one habit that shouldn't be too difficult to change. Nindinalao says scheduled sleep days. Whether like you're doing regular or controlled sleep, rest days, yes, but don't sleep all day. That's not too healthy for you. And Timotheus, music, if that's your thing, definitely go for it. Okay. So before we move on, budgeting. Who does a conscious spending plan monthly and knows exactly where all their money goes? Can I get a thumbs up if you do? Beatrice and Michaela, well done. Rachel, well done. It's not that easy. We are not taught financial literacy in school. It's often kept very hush-hush. You'll figure it out. You'll get there. And often we don't focus on the financial areas of our life. Our salary comes in. We kind of know where it goes, but it disappears very quickly. Okay, which is the norm for most people. Matthias says here, I have a budget, but don't keep to it. So that is the biggest problem with budgeting, is it's really, really hard to stick to. And this is where rephrasing it to a conscious spending plan to say, I know where my money is going. So when you look at a budget, you plan to spend so much, but then you don't spend it in the same way that you planned because life happens. Someone got sick, something broke. Sticking to a budget is really hard, but a conscious spending plan, just the rephrasing of the word, is saying it's okay to move away from these things that I plan. Sometimes things will happen and I won't stick to it. Okay? And then if you have a purposeful budget, so your budget is aligned with your own purpose, your why, your mission, then you're more likely to stick to it, to your conscious spending plan. Okay. Getting up early is really good for you. Okay. Tackling your day with an open mind. If you struggle to get up early, doing so consciously and mindfully, saying, I'm getting up early for this purpose. This is why I'm doing it. Making arrangements to pay off debts. Okay. If you do a amortization on your home loans or car loans, it's crazy how much more you pay for your house than it is worth. A 1.5 million house, you'll pay over 4 million for it. Okay. So try and get those debts paid off quickly so that you're not just paying off interest. Stay away from micro loans, all these Edgar's accounts, game accounts, Ackerman accounts, wherever you can open an account, quick cash loans, this one where you drop off your car and you can get cash for it. And then when you give them the cash with interest back, you get your car back. All of those ones, get rid of them. Having tough conversations. No one mentioned that. Sometimes setting a boundary, saying no to someone is how you're going to take care of yourself. It's scary. You're in a comfort zone at the moment, in whatever relationships you're in. If your boss repeatedly calls you a nickname that you really don't like, but you tolerate it because he's your boss, okay? And one day you just go, I don't like it when you call me that. He might have a reaction. He might have emotions and get mad at you or whatever. But you are important. Your emotions are important too. It is not okay for him to be calling you things that you don't like. Okay. So have that tough conversation. And eventually you'll get into a new comfort zone, which is way more comfortable than the old one, because that one wasn't comfortable. Doing the dishes. Ticking things off your to-do list. Making the bed, tidying up, doing the small things to make them, prevent them from becoming overwhelming. Meal planning, okay? It takes a huge amount of mental load to think, what am I going to cook tonight? Who's going to do what? Chore planning is just as important. Who's going to water the garden? Who's going to take out the trash? Who's going to pick up the dog poop? Plan those things out. Making your bed. Meeting responsibilities, the small ones and the big ones. Saying no. Yes, it's great to attend all these functions and do all these things. Sometimes it's important to say no. I know when you have kids, this one is particularly difficult because they're kind of attached to you. So if they have school functions, you have to go along. You can't take a break. And then if you have more than one kid, it's your own responsibilities, it's others' responsibilities. And yeah, every child, and then possibly your spouse too. So saying no is a really tough one, but practice it. Enforcing a morning routine. Have a way of taking care of yourself first. Take care of your most valuable asset first. Go as far as to say, I pay myself first. Before you pay your bank loans off, make sure you do something for you too. What are you doing to grow your mind? Are you going to gym? You're paying for your gym. But don't just pay for your gym and don't use the subscription. Actually go. Okay. Self-care is the intentional decision we make and purposeful actions we take to ensure our own holistic well-being. Okay. I am going to finish off now. Luzanne is finished in her meeting and she will take over with knowing the self. But I will no longer be sharing the slides. She'll share from her side. Are we all good? Oh, I see here. Ria says getting up early. Ish. It's hard. Sometimes doing self-care is hard. All right. Okay, so Luzanne, are you here on Teams? I think she is.
I am here. Hi.
Hi. Handing over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry. I had to go into a very quickly unplanned urgent meeting because HR be like that sometimes. But thank you, Nicole. Luckily, we know each other so well that she was able to seamlessly go on with the training. And I'm sure you guys really, really enjoyed it. I am excited because the self is literally one of my favorite topics. When people will be like, yeah, you're so full of yourself. I'm like, what else am I supposed to be full of? Like, the self is everything that I am. So, okay, so I'm going to kick off. I just want to make sure you can all see my slides.
We can see and hear you.
Awesome. Okay, so now I just need to get into my presentation because I'm presenting from the web. So there we go. Okay. Right. And then I also just want to be able to see the chat. And there we go. Okay. So are you guys seeing now the knowing the self slide? Okay. So Nicole has been talking a lot about the self and self-care and wealth establishment. Did you guys do the wealth establishment or the wealth management?
We did.
Okay, awesome. So now we're going to look at who is this self that we keep on talking about. So the self that we are talking about is the totality of our personal experience. We are talking about our physical, our mental, and our spiritual well-being, as well as the sum of all of our experiences over the course of our life. Okay, that's a major, like, it carries so much weight when you look at it like that. Okay, it is the whole who you are, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and all of your experiences throughout your entire life. Okay, that's a lot. Like, that's what I'm full of. So if people tell me I'm full of myself, I'm like, yeah, don't get me started. Okay, so the mystery of the self, and this is my favorite part, right? The mystery of the self is that we can be a different person than we were 2 years ago, but we are still the same person we were 2 years ago. Okay, but now you guys have to bear with me. The self is our identity in the midst of constant change. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, so within the self, and this is now where you guys must, in Afrikaans, we'd say, hou kop, okay, like follow. So within the self, we have a double self. So there are two parts to this. Okay, there is the ontology, which is the way things really are. And then epistemology is the way we understand things. And those are not always the same. Okay, the self, in the self, we are both the subject and the object. So you have to look at yourself subjectively and objectively. Okay, you must stop me if I'm losing you. We see one self, but we are a split self. Okay, so we see one, but there is always the double self. We are both constant and changing. So I'm going to go more into it in a minute. So we have the physical domain. Okay, so now we're going to look at the ontology, the epistemology, being the subject and the object, the one self, the split self, and being constant and changing. So now we are taking it together. So the first self there is the physical domain, right? That is me. I am Luzon. Okay, that's my identity. I am Luzon Pretorius. 15 years ago, before I got married, I was Luzon with my maiden surname, which I'm not going to tell you in case you decide to Google stalk me and see what I did when I was young. Okay, so but then I got married and my identity changed from single or engaged to married, from my maiden surname to my married surname. So a lot changed, but I was still Luzon. Okay. And the physical domain is I have blue eyes. I have mousy blonde brown hair. I am really short. I have really small feet. I wear like a size 3 or 4 shoe. I have freckles and like crooked toes. Okay, so that is my physical domain. And then we have the intrapersonal domain. So the intrapersonal domain is the product of a process of consciousness, which is introspection. And this is, so the intrapersonal domain is my relationship with me. Okay, so that's the intrapersonal domain. And my relationship with me, okay, is constant or is permanent in the sense of I'm the only one that can have my relationship with me. But it is also changing constantly. My relationship with myself changes when I am growing, when I am learning, when I am getting a little bit hormonal, you know, like sometimes I'm really hard on myself. Sometimes I'm very graceful with myself. So my relationship with myself can change, but I'm still the only person having that relationship with me. So it's permanent and constantly changing. Okay. And then we have the interpersonal domain. And that is a product of a process of symbolic interaction. So the interpersonal domain is our relationships with others. Okay. Again, the permanence will be, it's me, Luzanne. I have a relationship with a lot of different people, but all of those relationships look different and they can also change. Okay, so I have a different relationship. Let's take, for instance, my closest relationship will be with my family, so with my husband and my child. So my relationship with my husband today, where we are parents of an 18-year-old, looks a lot different than my relationship with my husband 10 years ago when we were parents of a toddler. There were different expectations, there were different understandings. I mean, we were both 10 years younger, we thought differently, we acted differently, we reacted differently, we were in different places. And so the relationship permanence is still, it's me and my husband, but the constant change has developed over the years. And it can even change day to day. Okay, you know, sometimes you just don't like your husband. Maybe he doesn't like me that much, but the relationship still remains permanent. Okay, are you guys still with me? And then, sorry, I just want to see here, I made a note. Yes, okay. So now, oh, this is my favorite, the Johari window. Okay. So the Johari window looks like this. I want to do my little laser pointer. There we go. Can you all see my laser pointer? Okay. So if everyone has a piece of paper with you, yes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Is it like looking in the mirror? I'm not sure about that question, Frederick. Okay, you can just do like a thumbs up in the comments if you have a pen and paper next to you or with you. And then we're going to work on the Johari window. But it can be like a scrap piece of paper. It's just so that you understand the concept a little easier as you are drawing the windows. Okay. All right, let's go. So I want you to draw a big square and then like divide it into 4. So it looks like this. The one on the screen. Okay. So your first window, so remember this is the Johari window, and we are now looking at the 4 windows of the self, of the human experience, let's call it that. Okay, so the first window, this one, is your open window. Your open window is what you know about you and everyone else knows about you. Okay, so that will be, for instance, Luzanne has blue eyes. Okay, that is, everyone knows that about me, that knows me. The second thing would be Luzanne has a lot of energy and is pretty optimistic and positive and energetic. So that is something that I know about me and everyone else knows about me. Okay. So I want you to think about something just to give you an idea. And I want you to write 1 or 2 things in that block that you know about you and everyone else knows about you. And that is your open window. Then under your open window, you have your hidden window. Okay. in your hidden window, these are things that you know about you, but others don't know about you. Okay. So for instance, what can I'm actually like very open. So I'm trying to think of something now that I can share with you that doesn't make me too vulnerable in this very first meeting we had with each other. So something that I know about me that you guys don't know about me, or that a lot of people don't know about me. My husband only found it out, I think maybe like 2 years ago, and we've been together for like 25 years this year. So we were together for 23 years and he didn't know this about me. And that is that I like the double folded chips. Like if I'm opening a bag of Lay's chips, my favorite ones are the ones that are like double folded. And I'll seek them out and I'll eat them first. Okay, so that's something I know about me, but other people don't necessarily know about me. So that's like a silly little, what do you call it? A silly little thing about me, but it can also be a lot deeper. Okay. So in the past, okay, so here's something. In the past, not a lot of people knew about my anxiety. So having been diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, it's not something I really shared with people, especially professionally, okay? But then as I grew, so that can be like part of myself, okay? The anxiety is there. But then as in the constant change, as I have been growing and developing and building closer relationships, I've started opening up about that more. So in the past, that would have been in my hidden window. I know I have anxiety, but other people don't know that about me. Okay. And then at the top there, next to your open window, you have a blind spot. Okay, that's your blind spot window. So this is the information that others know about you, but you don't know it about you. Okay. So this one is difficult because obviously I don't know the things, so I can't tell you. But what I did in the past, I asked one of the people, somebody made a comment, and then I asked one of the girls here in our team, and I was like, do I get very rude when I'm like, you know, stressed or in a hurry? And she obviously didn't want to say anything because I was kind of like her boss. And I'm like, no, you can tell me. And then she was like, yeah, you can get a little impatient. So you are very impatient. And I didn't know this about me because I actually think I'm a very patient person. But when she pointed that out, I realized that under normal circumstances, I am a very patient person. But under stressful conditions, I'm not. Things just need to get done. Okay, so that was a blind spot. And when I get impatient, I will speak to people rudely. Okay, so there I learned something that other people knew about me, but I didn't know about me. But it was always there. Okay, so that is why it's a blind spot. It's like if you are driving and you look in, you always check the blind spot behind you, because when you are looking in the mirror, Frederick, you do not see it. You don't see it in the side mirror. So you have to look back. Okay? So you have to look outside of the mirror. And that comes from other people. Okay. And then your last window is your window of the unknown. So these are things that you don't know about you and no one else knows about you. It is unknown. Okay. So then at the bottom here, you'll see the bigger your windows are on the left side, the more self-aware you are. Okay, so this image depicts it as all the windows are the same size, but in reality, when you start thinking about the URI window in a practical manner, actually applying it to your everyday life of knowing yourself and being more aware of the self, your open and your hidden windows will get bigger, right? And your blind spot and unknown windows will become smaller. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me? It makes sense for me. I need to just know that it makes sense for you guys. Okay, but now the question is, this is very nice and all. Like, it's a cute little picture. How do you make it happen? How do you make it happen? I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is how you make it happen. If you want to make your open window bigger, you have to, and your hidden window smaller, you have to tell people about yourself. So you have to share. Hi, Carol, I saw your face. So if you want to make your hidden area smaller, you have to share. You have to tell people about yourself. If you want to make your blind spot, your blind window smaller, you have to ask questions from the people that know you and that you interact with. Okay, so you have to ask questions and ask for feedback. Okay, and then if you want to make your unknown area smaller, it becomes shared discovery. This is where we are journeying with each other. And as we journey, we start to get to know a lot about ourselves, as well as getting to know a lot about each other. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, and that is how you make it happen. Okay, and then last one, or my last slide, and this is also one of my favorites, is check yourself. So this is all very nice. This is all very nice. Know the self, wealth management, self-care, everything. Super cool. Okay, but you also need to check yourself. Sometimes I am the toxic person. Sometimes I am the mean, negative person that I'm looking to push away. Sometimes the problem is me. And that doesn't make me less worthy. I have to keep on growing. I have to keep on checking myself. I have to keep on motivating myself. I have to know that mistakes are opportunities. I need to look at them, own them, grow from them, and move on. I need to do better and be better. And I need to remember that I am human, and that's okay. Okay? So we tend to so I'm going to read, it's in my notes, okay? But this was actually part of my master's thesis. So I was really feeling smart when I wrote this. And whenever I go back to it, I'm like, yeah, you know, it's like very, like, I feel slim. Okay. We tend to under or overemphasize both our strengths and weaknesses when we become aware of it, rather than focusing on our strengths while working on our weaknesses. Okay, so we focus on our strength, but we work on our weakness. No one is without strengths and weaknesses, and we often don't realize that there is greatness in both. Imagine a life where you have no weaknesses to build on. You reach a point where there is no more personal growth for you. Nothing. You're done. You've reached it. So the greatness in our weakness lies within the ability to rise above, to overcome, to achieve, to thrive. giving others something to be inspired by. And the greatness in our strength lies within the ability to use it for the greater good, giving others the opportunity to learn from us and grow within themselves, something to aspire to. Okay, so our weaknesses gives them something to be inspired by, and our strength gives them something to aspire to. Knowing, accepting, and loving the whole self means that we also know, accept, and love the darkness within every self. You must accept the whole self within yourself and realize that both the light and the darkness is beautiful. Our greatest power lies within the whole self, the humanness of it all. It is when we are willing to show vulnerability that we also give those around us permission to do the same. When we love the self, others feel free to do the same. And then after all of that being said about the whole self, the light and the darkness, the strengths and the weaknesses, loving ourselves fully where we are does not mean we have permission to stay there forever. Thank you very much. That's it. I'm done. Do you have any questions? You're welcome, Rio. Oh. You're welcome, Petrina, Miriam, JJ. You're welcome, Lavinia. Thank you, JJ. You're welcome. Thank you, Frederick. Yes, Corinne, definitely a lot to think about. We will definitely be doing more sessions, Victoria. See you on the 17th. You're welcome, Nadia. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Pleasure. Okay, so Ria, when you talk about the ego, how does the ego fit into the self? So that we can do, like not we can do, that will need like an entirely separate session, because then you are looking at things like the id, the conscious, the subconscious, the super ego, and it's a lot. So yeah, that's unfortunately not just an answer that I can give you just like this. But usually with the ego, I'll be with you now, Beatrice. Usually with the ego, it would be like under-matured, underdeveloped self-awareness. And that's where the ego, or also known as the id, will like come up. Yes, Beatrice?
Hi, thank you, Lizanne. I'm trying to communicate, but it seems like I cannot type in here.
Sorry, there's a lot of interference with your mic, so I can't quite hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
It's just I think my too small.
No, Beatrice, I'm terribly sorry, but there's a lot of interference with your microphone, so I can't hear when you are speaking.
Okay.
Maybe you want to type in the chat. I'm still going to have the chat running in the background. For those of you who need to go, we can end the meeting, like the actual talking meeting or session, but then I will still be in the chat for a little bit. So you're welcome to post in the chat if you want to some more.
Okay. I think my mic is the problem here. But if it is okay, can I send you a mail? I really enjoyed it. Thank you. I've learned a lot.
You are welcome. It seems like I was able to hear you there.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Lizanne. I've learned a lot. And yes, I will surely make use of this meeting again. Yeah, I make notes of it because I find it very useful.
I'm glad to hear that, Beatrice. Thank you so much. I think also something that people don't always realize, so I usually say this in my sessions, in my one-on-one, especially when I'm giving training to like a whole group of corporates. And then I'm like, I don't know business, but I do know people. And one thing that I know is that people are business.
Oh,
so
yes.
obviously I do know business, and then it always gets the corporates like, ooh. So yeah, but we use these kind of things in everyday communication, relationships, inside and outside of the office.
Yes. So yes, I will surely make contact with you again, Lizanne. It was very useful.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you, and have a lovely day.
You too, Beatrice. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. You're welcome, Michelle.